What was going through your mind when your name came up on the board?
I mean, every time it's somewhat similar, you know. After you see the first regional and you're not in it, you start to put two and two together, you know, and you have a pretty good idea where you're going to be, and you don't know exactly who you're playing yet, but so it was a little bit of surprise that we're going to Seattle, but you first have to win 2 games, and regardless of what region you're in, job number 1 is you have to win 2 games, and that's no different than it is every other year. And every year people go, oh, that's a tough bracket. Oh, that's an easy bracket. Oh, that's a tough matchup. Oh, that's an easy matchup. And every year I say the same thing. There are no easy games in the NCAA tournament. And certainly this year is no exception.
How will you use this time getting ready as far as physically for your team? Has this been a good rest for you guys as you prepare for this?
We when we played last Monday, so you know, for teams whose tournaments ended last weekend, it's an inordinately long time. This is the only time it happens during the season. You never get 12, 13 days between games. So it's a little bit different preparation period, and you need some rest, and yet you still have to, you know, prepare. So for us, it was a little bit of both, you know, this past week, leading up to today, and mostly the practices, the workouts have been concentrating on us getting a little better at the things that we felt we struggle with, or that potentially we were going to need going forward. And then tomorrow we know who we're playing now, and tomorrow we can get started on, you know, we have an idea. You know, we play Vermont, so Monday, Tuesday, you know, you still got to throw a day off in there. So it'll from now on, from today till next Monday, we're fortunate, we got to prepare to play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's very similar to what we went through for the Big East tournament, you know, where the week leads up and you want to try to plan it so that you're good to go. If you have to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you know, 3 games or 2 games in 3 days.
Did anyone on your staff happen to watch the Vermont Albany game, or how about do you scout a team you haven't played like that?
I don't think you watch any games in particular live while they're going on, because you don't have enough staff members to cover everybody who you might play. One year we thought we're getting Holy Cross, or we're getting Quinnipiac, or I forget who was in the tournament that year, and we got Mississippi Valley State. So, you know, you just never know what's going to happen in that NCAA room. So by tomorrow, we'll have a pretty good scouting report on Vermont. That's the best I can tell you.
What are your thoughts just heading into this first NCAA tournament with just 2 regionals?
Me personally, I'm not crazy about it. They're called regionals for a reason. You have them in each region. And now they're not called, they shouldn't call them regionals anymore. They should call them something different. And then, not that it matters, because every team is in the same situation, so I'm probably speaking for every coach. If you're going to do it, why not have both of them in the middle of the country where everybody only has to go halfway? So I understand, let's try something different, think outside the box, all that other stuff. And if I was 35, I would say, wow, this is a great idea. Let's try that. Not into new ideas at my age.
With all your team has been through this year, is being a 2 seed a matter of some personal satisfaction for you?
You know, I think if we weren't called UConn, we'd be a number 1. Or if they used, you know, the men's criteria, when you think about the wins that we've had in quadrant 1, 2, all that, who has a better record than us against those teams? So being a number 2, I'm kind of happy we are. You know, there were a lot of teams that had great years, and you know, the 4 number 1s, you know, they all did great things this year, or they wouldn't be number 1 seeds. So for us, when the season started and knowing what we were missing, I thought this is going to be a hard one. Then as the season was going on, there were doubts that we would be able to. And then during the month of February, I thought, oh my God, we're going to be a 4 or 5 seed, someplace 6 maybe, who knows? I just want to get in and get it over with. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of our team for accomplishing what we did.
What facets of your team in its current configuration will make your team a tough out in this tournament?
I would say we have to play to the level that we played in the Texas game, the first game of the year, the NC State game, the Tennessee game, the Iowa game. We have to play to that level, and I think we would be a pretty tough out because those teams are pretty good. And then we would have to play with the energy and just the relentlessness that we had in the Big East tournament. So, you know, making sure that we have AZ and Carroll back. If we can approach that level, then I think we have a chance. But I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there that are going, if we approach the level when we played this game. But for us, that's it right there. We have to be able to compete at that level, execute at that level.
You know, speaking for having those players back, what's the process and the journey been like, pretty much getting to know your team all over again? I mean, first you had to deal with playing with 7, and now you seem to have more pieces back. So what's it like getting used to integrating them and getting everybody on the same page?
Yeah. We had 7, and then we didn't have 7, and we couldn't play. So we've been everywhere, right? We're the Johnny Cash of women's college basketball, right? We've been everywhere. And I think the minute we got Caroline back, I felt pretty good. And then we got AZ back, and I felt really good. And I don't have any problem integrating a new team. Like last year, we're kind of almost in the same situation we were in last year, where we were added, where we added Paige towards the end of the season. But the last game of the Big East tournament, we lost it. Oh, break. So, you know, this year we can't ever have it just easy. You know, for everybody we add, we have to take one out. It's like, you know, you go buy a new sweater, you have to throw the other one out, because you're only allowed to have so many sweaters in your closet. And you know, that's the life that we're used to living right now. And hopefully by game time this weekend, we'll have everybody ready.
Geno, do you think just having AZ on the floor, whether she hits shots or not, makes you a better team? Because people have to defend her, leaving other players more open.
Yeah, except the other players they're leaving open aren't as good as she is. So we need her out on the floor, and we need her making shots. If we can get both of those things done, I think that would be fantastic. And I've said this, you know, AZ's the kind of player that can just, in 5 possessions, blow the game open. Can take a 5-point lead and make it a 20-point lead. So having somebody like that is just invaluable. And I know she hasn't played a lot of basketball recently, so a little bit at a time, and she's looked really, really good in practice. You can still see there's a little bit of rustiness there, which is natural. But like I said last year when we added Paige, I said, I don't know that anybody in the country all of a sudden is adding somebody of that caliber. Now we just have to, obviously take advantage of it.
Geno, you mentioned Mohegan. You looked forward to kind of getting her up near 30 minutes, like starters minutes, whether she comes off the bench or not. Where are you with that? And what kind of impact do you think she can make? I don't know if she feels pressure to have an impact like Paige did at all.
30 minutes, 20 minutes, I think everything's going to be played by ear, right? The way she looks in practice, I would say, she's going to be able to go as many minutes as we need her. I don't want to play her 40 minutes. No way. I don't want to play Caroline 40 minutes. I don't want to play Lou 40 minutes. These guys have been through the ringer this year, right? So, whatever minutes, they just have to be productive. As far as pressure is concerned, AZ started the season with me in her ear saying, we don't have Paige, but we have you, but you have to play like you and Paige combined. And she started off, 32, 27, whatever it was. So I don't envision AZ being affected, but kids are kids, it's the NCAA tournament. Now, if Lou's making shots and Aaliyah's playing the way Aaliyah's playing and Dorka, if our other players are all playing at the level that we played this weekend, it's easy for her to just do her thing. If everybody struggles at the same time and it's all on her, I don't want to think about that.
Two parts, 5 Big East teams and 10 of 11 non-conference games. The only one that didn't get to the tournament was Northeastern that you played.
Yeah, as I said, our strength of schedule was incredible. Our wins were more than anybody else's against teams that were seated at pretty high. So I think we're pretty well prepared. We're pretty well tested. The fact that our players, some of them anyway, have had to play so many minutes, I think they're hardened a little bit. As I said earlier, I don't think Nika is going to see anything she hasn't seen or face anybody that she hasn't already had to deal with. And she's proven she can go 40 minutes if she has to every single game and be productive and be a great leader. So five Big East teams. That's a hell of a thing, right? Because people tend to not give our conference a lot of respect. And all I know is our record last year in the tournament was a lot better than some of the conferences that get too much respect, if you ask me. And I think that may have had something to do with it, right? When you look at how our teams did in the tournament last year. And the same goes for our guys on our men's side. They got 5 teams in, right? So you get the Big East has 10 teams in. That's pretty darn good. And, I'm really proud of our guys too. I mean, I'm happy for them and I'm thrilled for them. And I think they and the coaching staff did a phenomenal job this year riding their own highs and lows, So I think it's an exciting time for UConn basketball, and it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. And the fact that we get a home game Saturday, and our guys are playing up in Albany. I just think that's tremendous for our fans. I mean, our fans love traveling. They love watching us play. And I know they get to see us play a lot, but when was the last time you think that our fans got a chance to see our men play in an NCAA game live in person? So I just think this weekend is going to be awesome. It's going to be terrific for everybody that's a UConn fan.
Do you know at the Big East Championship, Aubrey was dealing with those back spasms.
Yeah.
Just how has she responded since, and what's her status moving forward?
A little bit here and there, mostly rehab and mostly trying to get that thing to quiet down. In terms of how much practice, hasn't been a lot. Very, very little. But I'm hopeful that tomorrow we can incorporate her a little bit more.
What do you think of your buddy across the hall going up against Rick Pitino in the first round? Kind of a cool draw.
Sometimes I think the NCAA's just got a warped sense of humor, but it's the NCAA tournament. You have to expect the unexpected, right? The thing that I always say is, if you have the better team, it doesn't matter where you're playing, it doesn't matter who you're playing, and it doesn't matter what their tradition is or non-tradition, who their coach is. If you have the better team. I think the fact that it's someone like Rick just adds to the circus atmosphere that the NCAA tournament is already. So I'll be checking in on what's happening in Albany all weekend. That should be pretty colorful. What do you think?
Dan said you sent him a text, I don't know if it was last night, just kind of burn the film from the other night and just move forward.
I told him, I said, dude, don't even show them the film. Just get rid of it. Go on, move on. We lost in the semifinals of the Big East tournament when Diana was a junior and we won a national championship. So losing in that tournament sucks, because when you're playing in the Big East, you want to win the Big East championship first and foremost. Okay. So I know how much it hurts to not win that tournament, right? But at the same time, there's bigger goals out there, and they make a deep run, they go to the Final Four. No one will remember what happened in the Big East tournament, except the coaches and the players will, because that's one trophy you want to bring home, no question about that. But I'm not saying anything anybody doesn't already know. When they're at their best, they're the best team in the country. They proved it for long stretches. So I'm excited for them. Yeah, but I said throw the film away. Don't even look at it. He goes, too late, I already showed it to him. And they might have watched it on the bus or something, I don't know what, but I like what their kids said too. Their kids said, this is different. This year's different. This isn't the same old like the last couple of years. So I think they're in a great place.
What are you expecting from Lou? Because last year she went to the tournament, got the experience, but this time, they were expected to play one game. Now they're expected to make a run into second and third weekends.
Right.
Does that change anything for her?
For her, I think the excitement of playing in last year's tournament obviously kind of led her here, because she wanted that experience again, one more year, and to be on that stage, and she's proven that she belongs on that stage. So she might be the most excited player on our team going into that tournament, because all the guys she's playing with were in the national championship game last year. So she's, with a bunch of really, really good, experienced players. I think she'd feel a lot better if Paige was out there with her. But I think Lou is a big game player. She just needs to be 100%. You know, as I said, the minutes took their toll on a lot of players, and we're just trying to rest everybody up and make sure that everybody's good to go. But Lou's not afraid to take big shots.